Hi and welcome to part 2 of this tutorial of how to draw a blue healer in soft pastels. So as you can see, we went straight in and started on the nose. And you can see that I like to build up the nose using lots of colours with my pastel pencils. I'm trying to create the depth with the light. So noses are quite often reflective, so I'm putting in the reflection colours, those sort of greens and blue tones. And then I'm mixing that in with my browns and my greys and just trying to sort of capture that light, just gradually blending those pencils in together to sort of create that depth that's like a gradient to then work on top of to get the fine details on. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we've got the main reference photo up in the top left, and then I've got another reference photo in the bottom left. The brilliant thing about this one is there were lots of photos available of this dog, so we could refer to different photos for different things that were perhaps not so clear in the original reference photo. So I was using the main reference photo as the main guide, and then using that bottom reference photo just to get those details in. And you can see that I've put in some sort of dots of white colour to show that real sort of popping reflection on the nose, which really helps to bring this to life and give it that sort of three-dimensional look. So I'm going in and starting to get those base layers down on the cheek and around the mouth now. And I've used the soft pastel sticks, mostly the Unison soft pastels. And then I've used the pan pastels as well, which are the ones that are in the little pots that you apply with the makeup applicator tools or the soft tools. So I like to use those ones for my greys, mostly because I have a really good range of them and I don't really have the soft pastel sticks in that. You can use anything you've got really to make the base layers. It's just whatever you've got that you find easiest to work with, where you've got the colours and what you enjoy using. It is a lot easier to put your base layers down with the soft pastel sticks or the pan pastels because you will wear the pastel pencils down really quickly. And you also won't get the same amount of vibrancy if you use the pastel pencils because they just don't have that same sort of thick, vibrant colour. But you can still achieve the same results. You don't have to have everything, in your supplies. So I've put the base layer down, I've rubbed that into the page, I've kind of mapped out where my colours are, where my shapes are, using those soft pastels, using my base colours, and then I'm going in with the pastel pencils on top and just starting to create that detail. So I'm going in with my darker colours first, and I'm putting in all these lines in the directions in which the hair is going. So I'm creating the shape using the direction of those little hairs. So I've gone from dark to light and I'm just working through the different colours. You've got this real sort of speckled hair on here. It's a very mottled sort of appearance. You've got lots of different colours sort of all working at once and you don't want it to end up looking muddy. So I'm making sure that those vibrant sort of lighter colours do really pop at the end. And then my darker colours sort of really pop as well. You kind of want everything to look bold and to look vibrant, but you also want to have all the in-between colours so that it all kind of works together and you get that lovely sort of mottled appearance. I think the main thing that's really important when you're working with a photo like this is getting everything to go in the right sort of direction. Because if you don't get those hairs going in the correct direction, it just won't look three-dimensional. Hopefully you can see that all of these little hairs, they are all going in slightly different directions. So they're creating that sort of bone structure and shape so that you're getting that sense of, this is a real animal rather than just sort of straight lines going right down that just don't give you that same appearance of an actual face structure there. So you need to pay close attention to the direction in which all those hairs are going. So you can then, make that really realistic look. So I'm going again from my darker to my lighter colours and I'm making those light colours sort of pop at the end. You want to be putting down those light colours to begin with though, so that they do sort of stand out and become vibrant. You don't want to lose those colours and make them go muddy by not putting them down to begin with. So even if you put down a light colour, go over it with a slightly darker colour and then go back to the light colours, that light colour will still shine through more vibrantly than it would have done had you put down a darker colour first. All of the layers that you're putting down on the page are all having an impact on how that final layer will look. So every single pencil marking that you put down, or every single, soft pastel stick marking that you put down, has a real strong impact on how this comes together at the end. So I'm just going around under the eye, and you can see how those highlights are really, really popping, but they're popping on that darker colour. So that highlight is not as bright as it would have been had there been a lighter colour underneath. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So if you'd like to follow along with this in real time, I have all the reference materials and I talk through step by step what I'm doing over on my Patreon channel. This tutorial is just over 3 hours long and it's a 4-parter, so all 4 parts are now live on Patreon. But I will see you here for part 3 of the time lapse next week. So please do hit subscribe if you enjoyed this and it was helpful, and I will see you for the next part next week. Take care, guys. Bye.